Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us again as we come back for season 3 of our Impossible Landscapes actual play, written by the wonderful Mr. Detweiler. Excellent system. I'm so honored to be able to guide my group through this amazing campaign. So glad you could all join us as well. Just do a quick recap since it's been a while. I was rewatching the video from last season, the last video, and it was like listed it as 3 months ago. So, um, let's do a quick recap of where we left off. So, last thing that happened, the folks got an invitation. If you could share the invitation, in the mail. Each of them got one just like this, so it wasn't a single invitation, but they each got one that was like this. They haven't actually taken the time to really compare them, but they'll see that they are pretty much identical. Asking them to come to a birthday party for a Richard Zelloni, which of course none of them knew, but they did recognize that Zelloni was very similar to the Russian word for green. So, they had a hint. Plus, the little green triangle in the top indicated, this was them being activated after quite a while. It's been 12 years since the events of the McAllister house. They've had some encounters with the weirdness or during the time. Definitely seems like they have been touched at least by whatever was causing the night floors phenomenon. Agent Greeby lost her sister to a similar incursion that it appears Delta Green, someone else in Delta Green took care of, a Chicago outfit, not their East Coast outfit. And they've been, as a group, sort of trying to investigate that outside of Delta Green channels when they got the call for this meeting, which came on the 28th of August. They needed to be there on September 1st. So they showed up, got a hotel, got a couple rooms at the Boxer Hotel in the north end of Boston, and showed up at the restaurant the next day to find a single person calling himself Agent Exeter. If you could share the picture. A nice, late middle-aged black gentleman, seemed fairly normal. Informed them that they had been assigned to him to sort of help him out with a case that he had been working on. They were going to be reporting to him. He would be their handler. Introduced himself as Agent Exeter. Gave them a bunch of information about the case that they would be working on. So apparently some Delta Green agents were at the Dorchester House psychiatric facility, a place that was Delta Green friendly, where often Delta Green people over the years had been sent when they needed more psychiatric help than they could just get from typical therapists. Someplace where they're not exactly a Delta Green branch, but they are familiar with some of the weirdness that goes on, so that they could actually talk about real things that happened to a certain extent. Those 6 agents disappeared. So he passed out a list of names, if you want to share that, of the people who disappeared. It's 3 men, 3 women. Not that you can tell that from the list of names, but you'll find that. You're going to find that out when you go to visit and you actually talk to the doctor. So basically right now, just a list of names, and maybe, I don't remember, maybe he mentioned the genders and sex of the agents. I don't recall. But your job is to go there and try to figure out what happened, because they apparently just disappeared from their rooms one night, leaving in one room the mysterious message in blood. If you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Let's see, where is that? Is
image, the message. So yeah, Abigail Wright has gone to sea. Cross the waves to rescue me in a ship both tall and fine. She rounds the corner, marking time. Written on some newspaper that had been plastered to the wall with an unknown adhesive and scribbled out in what is apparently blood. You'll get to get a better look at this when you actually go to visit. He also handed you the business card of your contact, Dr. Dallin. He's the director of the Dorchester House, and he's specifically the one that is the Delta Green friendly he told you about. So you don't know how friendly the whole staff is, but this guy at least knows roughly what you're doing and will be expecting you for a visit. And he gave you just a quick. He gave you a rather large and old sat phone. Looks like something from the 80s or early 90s. And told you if you need to ask any questions, star 616 will get you the program, and you can make requests, ask questions, that sort of thing. After that, he pretty much took his leave. You were not given any sort of funds to work with, or a case with files like you were last time. Basically, he wanted you to go and sort of start your own investigation and then check in with him later to compare notes, but he didn't want to prejudice you in any way. So you all decided to grab some sandwiches from the restaurant you were at and head back to the hotel, and then sometime the next day visit the Dorchester House. Before we get started on what you guys want to do, let's refresh our viewers who the characters we are that we're playing. Let's go counterclockwise, starting with Tom. Let us know who you are, who you're playing, and how you're doing today.
Hi, Tom, sometimes known as Bolthra. I am playing Agent Gourmet. He's doing just dandy. Of the bunch, I think he's maybe hanging on the best, but the night's early, so we'll see what happens.
All right. Minty?
Hello, everyone. I'm Minty Bo. I have the utmost privilege of playing Agent Gaucher for you this evening. They are hanging on, but what's the opposite of a thread? Like the strands of a thread? Sanity is not a luxury we can afford in this line of business, and the debt always has to be paid.
That is true. All right, Mouse, how's Greeby doing?
Greeby is not doing well. I mean, she's got some pretty intensive training as an ex-agent at KGB, but so she's, I think, to those who don't know her very well, probably still keeping up appearances, but she's walking pretty close to the edge of going full, I think, psychopathic. I don't know. You killed her sister, so yeah, that didn't. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, it is the morning of September 2nd. It's a Tuesday. You guys find yourself in the hotel restaurant having breakfast. How do you want to approach the day?
I think Greeby would just be having coffee with, and she'll pull out a flask and pour some alcohol into that coffee. Slip the flask back in her pocket, and I mean, maybe she'll munch on maybe she'll have a bagel with the coffee, so there's at least something in her stomach other than.
All right. Is she going to complain about the food?
No, I don't even know if she tastes the food.
Okay.
Between the coffee and the cigarettes, I mean, yeah.
I imagine Gaucher would just take a look at the flask being poured into the coffee and just is that going to become a problem?
Hasn't been a problem yet.
Very well.
Gourmet got there last. He was out for his run. Showered, got dressed, came down. He's just kind of hurriedly, quick, got something from the continental breakfast that they've served us.
No, it's an actual restaurant, so you actually get to
Oh,
order real food.
Oh, okay. Well then, okay. So he gets there, is scanning the menu real quick and orders something super healthy that the player wouldn't eat, and sits down. Probably doesn't notice the flask. And is trying to kind of just check his teammates and see how they look. Are they going to be able to get through this one today?
Right. Greavy looks like she's about to fall out of her chair.
Okay.
Gaucher probably is looking prim and proper as always, holding it in tightly bottled.
Yep. They totally don't look like they are one crack away from fracturing entirely.
So, good morning.
Morning,
Good
Gourmet.
morning.
How do we want to do this morning? Are we going with one person as sort of the face and leaving the others to investigate, or are we? I'll be honest, I don't quite know how to approach this one.
If it is a psychiatric care facility, I know enough within the medical community to pass by. Perhaps we could... This doctor is meant to be friendly, correct?
Yeah.
Then we don't need to worry about our cover being too in-depth.
No.
Then we just say that we're looking for someone that needs evaluation and maybe a danger and explains police presence.
They will most likely not let us come in armed.
No.
No.
I would rather not surrender my service revolver to a rent-a-cop. As much as it goes against my instincts, I'm going to leave everything probably in the car, locked up.
We could take the van.
Easy to do. You could. I'm sure there's a hidey hole in the Yaris where you can tuck stuff.
That's right. It's a Yaris. That's right.
Right, that's true. She probably doesn't have her van anymore, actually.
Nope. Yeah, you said you had to sell the van when you went traveling with
Yeah.
Bourdain.
When I went traveling in the world, the good days.
So you rented a Yaris to drive out here.
I think filling up the trunk of a Yaris with a bunch of weapons sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you open the trunk, move aside Greavy's arsenal, and find a little spot for your one little gun.
Okay.
What do you have in the trunk, Greavy?
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, a lot of shit, probably. I mean, she's probably got surveillance equipment in there. She's probably got multiple weapons in there. Trying to look at what she
Maybe we could just leave them at the hotel then, and since she's already got the mobile armory.
yeah, she's got pepper spray, she's got flashlights, first aid kit, like she's got go bags stashed in there with like money and additional weapons, fake IDs.
Pepper spray would be helpful.
Good.
I
Yeah,
don't
being
know
the
if
one
that
who
would be
drove.
something that they would stop us from bringing in.
Handcuffs,
That they'd stop.
bug detector.
You're good to go. Yeah. You
yeah,
guys who flew, it's a little bit harder. You were able to check any guns that you wanted, but of course you couldn't bring your usual, arsenal, or not that you guys tend to carry much. Really, it was a Greavy that has all the
Yeah.
accoutrement. So, The hotel rooms do have safes if you want to just, lock something in there.
You know what? Yeah, Gourmet's gonna lock up his stuff in the hotel room safe. So, and trust that.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave it like in the drawer.
Oh no.
Stumble across, but yeah,
A hotel safe that everyone knows the combination to, but it makes him feel better.
but have no reason to check. So yeah.
Exactly. So,
Sounds good. So then, how do you want to approach this? You were just starting to discuss that when I derailed you.
While this is going on, Gaucher cannot participate because their gun is unregistered and had to be left home since they had to fly.
Well, I can always loan Gaucher my 9mm again.
Yeah.
You could totally trust this face with a gun.
you can't sell him a gun, but you can trust him with it.
His hands not so much.
Exactly.
Look at my face. I have 3 guns.
That is the concerning part.
as she refills her coffee mug and then puts a little bit more whiskey in.
I was honestly expecting Minty to have Gaucher just kind of like motion to the whiskey and then motion to his cup.
You want to Irish it up a little bit?
I mean, I don't know why we're. I mean, if this place is friendly to us and they know that these people went missing, and obviously because there's fucking blood written on the wall, and like I don't really know how much we need to try to be secretive about it. Like,
are we going in as local law enforcement? Are we FBI? What's our?
Yeah, the director's expecting you, but you don't know. Like, is the person at the gate going to be expecting Delta Green agents? Probably
right. Yeah. I mean, we need to know what our cover is. I mean, I'm a U.S. Marshal, but
yes. Oh, but you're a private security consultant now, aren't you?
That is true. He does have his own company. It's true.
So yeah, I guess you could just take us in as employees.
But the reason
you're a security
we're there,
company, I have all kinds of security equipment in my trunk.
Yeah. But the reason we're there, what would a private security company be coming to? Is this a state facility or is it?
No, it's a private facility. If you want to spend some time researching it, you haven't had a chance to do that yet. You've got you got the morning, the afternoon, the evening.
Let's do that. Let's because we got to think of a reason why we're there. So.
So you can there's a handout called Dorchester House there that you can click on. There's a link, a little bit of information that that's what you can get like super quick, and then of course you can always go into more depth if you want, but
it's under the handouts, correct? Yep, there it is, Dorchester House. Buzzer can be quite unreliable at night.
That's not ominous at all.
Do we need to go in official capacity?
I mean, not necessarily. You just know that this guy's expecting you. You could bypass that, try to sneak in if you wanted.
He's expecting all 3 of us?
Yes.
Okay.
Or, well, you don't know for sure. You know that he's expecting investigators. So
got it.
More than 1, less than 10.
Think of an angle.
I could use my connection with the CDC. If anyone asks questions, just say it's part of a broader public health investigation.
It's an idea.
Private security hired for unstable elements during the investigation.
It's not a bad idea. Gaucher's the face, I think. So.
Listen, they got the charisma for it. Sandy, to be determined.
So far, I got the sanity. So far. So. What do you think, Greeby?
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
I have some Excedrin if you have a headache.
Nope.
Just slowly trying to push the coffee away from her.
See if maybe she can catch a quick nap in the car.
No, I don't need a nap. I just don't have any tolerance for trying to pretend like I'm not there to do what I'm there to do. I'll just keep my mouth shut and follow you guys.
You'll look over Gourmet. Go she like, well, that could be a problem. like what she just said.
You wait.
Do you need to sit this one out?
No, I'm not sitting this one out.
All right.
Well, hopefully once we get past any of the staff and get to the director personally, we won't have to front as much.
Yeah, I have my business card, and I have documentation for my company, which I named blah 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 blah. So we should be ready then.
Okay. Did you want to delve any deeper into Dorchester House, or just go with what you could Google real quick?
I think just go with what we Google. We could do, not conspiracies, patient issues with this place. I don't know. He's kind of disinclined to do that. He'd rather kind of just go in and just kind of see everything with his own eyes. He just feels like all the internet is going to be is just people complaining about the place, and the nurses stole my money, and all that kind of comments. So and it's an insane asylum. So
yeah. Well, a psychiatric facility.
Excuse me.
We don't like to advertise that there are crazy people here.
It's for business. Ruby, are you up for driving?
Yeah, sure, I'll drive.
Okay.
Are you up for riding with me driving?
Of course.
Gaucher's still looking at the coffee cup and back up to the other two.
I mean, the rental car is in your name, so technically you're the only one who can drive it.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to break the law or the rental agreement.
Yeah,
we burned down a building, but we don't.
We burned down a building full of people, but
we wouldn't want to, switch drivers on the rental.
Listen, I'll go toe to toe with Homicide, but I will not face Enterprise.
Exactly. That's just
they are.
They're the real Delta Green. So, no.
All right, so the plan is to just drive over and show up.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So you drive over. It is what the hell the scale is on this map, but it's that far away. Okay. Oh wait, maybe I have to measure. Did I actually set it up with a real scale?
I do see there's a Trader Joe's somewhere as well. So.
Yeah, it's definitely not 55 feet away. So no, I didn't set up a real scale.
God, wouldn't that be awesome?
But it's it's far south of where you're at. You're up in the north end. This place is down in Ups something. What did I say? Ups. Upham's Corner. It's on Columbia Road, down not too far from where 93 runs down that area. So in the southern outskirts of Boston. So it's going to take you a little while just to drive through Boston, but you'll probably get on the 93 and head down and pop off. And you have to deal with morning traffic, which is going to be horrendous. So it probably takes you 2 hours to get there. You got plenty of time to hang out. How does Greeby handle the Boston traffic?
Like a pro? I don't know. Do you want me to roll that?
Roll for DUI.
Take a sanity check, but you guys don't have much to go with. No, I'm just kind of wondering, like, is she like one of those aggressive drivers that's just like to get an extra 2 minutes cut off of your thing, or does she just
No.
go? Fuck it and,
I think that she is she's not reckless. She's actually very controlled. I think she would be just I think kind of your base level aggressive that like everybody has to be if you're going to drive in Boston and not just get,
Okay. So that means Gaucher and Gourmet, you don't, have your stomachs in your throat by the time you get there. It's a reasonably relaxing morning drive. Traffic's starting to thin out by the time you get down there. Once you start heading south of Boston you're basically anti-commuting, so it's not too bad. But you get down there, you drive up to the place, and the whole compound, which is about 17,000 acres, square feet, not acres.
17,000 acres.
Square feet. Which I was about to say, I don't know how many acres that is, and that's why I got ahead of myself. But so not a huge mansion compound, but nothing to sneeze at.
Mm-hmm.
It's all surrounded by one of those big wrought iron fences, 10 feet tall with the sort of spikes on top, and they have the little, hooky jobs that like kind of arc over to deter climbing over, and they go in both directions, so you can't. Harder to climb in, hard to climb. I won't say you can't, because if you're determined enough, you probably could. But they're designed to sort of slow down anyone trying to cross over them. You notice there's a guard gate or a guard house next to the gate. You can see a camera like pointing to the driveway. There's like a 15 feet of drive just off the street before you get to the gate, so that you can pull in safely. And there's a camera like pointing there. A little buzz box on the side. But in the guard house are a couple of guards. And portly gentleman sort of leans out as you drive up and says, "Yep, how can I help you?"
Hello, my name is Maxwell Power. We're here to meet with I think we're meeting with the director. Is it? Players trying to remember.
Yeah, you got the card, so you'll be like, "Yeah, director
Okay.
down."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, director down. Yeah, he kind of like squints at the three of you. Goes, "Oh yeah, I think he's expecting you. You're here to investigate the disappearances."
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Let me buzz you right in. Go on in, check in at the front desk, and they'll take care of you. I don't know if he'll be available right away. I don't know how things are going in there, but it is mid-morning, so at this point, he should be around somewhere, even if he's doing his rounds. I don't know. I'm not involved with that kind of stuff. I'm just here at the gate. So check in with me when you leave, and have a good day.
Thank you. And what was your name again, sir?
Yeah, Bill.
Bill. Thank you again, Bill.
So Bill waves you through the gate. Slides open. It's one of those nice double guys that takes a little while. You can hear the chain clinking. You drive on in, and there's it's just a short drive to like a little parking lot in front of the building. Basically, the where you drive in, the drive goes to a lot, and the building is sort of on the right, and it kind of runs north-south. It's E-shaped. The middle part of the E, it looks like the main entrance. You can see that there are some like fire escape doors or emergency doors on the ends of the other arms of the E, but it's pretty obvious that the central part is where you need to go. You're leaving weapons and stuff in the car, I think you said, or back at the hotel. So yeah, you walk up to the front, you go in, the door's not locked. You will see a sign, that's stating visiting hours between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. There's as you go in, there's another sign for like anyone who might be visiting that lists the meal times. So the sort of information that you might have for if you needed to come visit, so that there's no confusion. Nice open hallway. The ceilings are fairly high, 10 maybe 12 feet. A bit echoey. There's a nice marble floor. This place is reasonably old. it looks like it's been retrofit from some other kind of building, maybe like an old school or a municipal building or something. Because it looks like the nice floors are sort of retrofit. You can see the wall architecture is gussied up, but definitely looks more industrial underneath. And there's just a short run to a desk in the front, and there's a nice young woman sitting behind the desk who looks up when you come in. I'm going to share a quick image. On her, she's dressed like a nurse or an orderly, and it just says on her lapel pen, G. Huston, or maybe Houston, we're not sure. There was an issue with your file. Please try again in a little while.
That's a weird name.
I'm sure she's great.
Yeah, she's pretty fine. I don't actually have a handout made for her because
Sorry.
just the orderly who is at the front desk. But we can sort that out later if you would like. She says, hello, can I help you?
Good morning. My name's Maxwell Power. And my associates and I have a meeting with the director.
Regarding what, may I ask?
Security concerns.
Would you be the investigators looking into the mysterious disappearance? Wink, wink. She.
And
Yes,
he's
let's just
Kinda
get
like
straight
leans
to
in,
it.
like,
and he's amazed how blasé they are
Mhm.
about it. Just
Yeah.
like, oh, the
leans in
mysterious
like, come on,
disappearance.
gossip. Give me the gossip.
Yeah.
Spill that tea.
Yeah,
Give you that look.
we're here to see what we can do to help.
Okay, yes. The doctor would be making his rounds about now. Did you have an appointment for now?
Believe we did.
Okay, well, let me buzz up and we'll get you sorted. Let me get you someone to escort you up to his office. That'd probably be the best place to wait. And she, hits a little buzzer. A second or two later, another nurse comes through. Let's see if I can share this file. Maybe I've hit my limit. I think it's just that they're too big. Oh yeah, that one came through. So this nurse comes through on her lapel. It says E. Samagina. And then under that it says head nurse. And she says, Esther, could you please escort these three up to the doctor's main office? They're here to investigate the disappearances. I realize he's probably busy right now, but if you could find him and let him know they're here, I'd appreciate it. That way I don't have to make a general announcement and get everyone upset. And Esther's like, yep, sure. She takes you back behind the sign-in desk, if you will. And she stops and says, oh, have you checked any weapons? Any sort of dangerous paraphernalia? We need to make sure that you don't carry anything in.
He kind of just makes a play of like Pam says, I don't carry anything on me.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Just making sure there's nothing. You might not be carrying. Some of the people here are of a delicate mental state, and we want to make sure that there are no accidents.
Of course.
Even something as innocuous as a ballpoint pen could be a problem. So I'm not saying you have to check your ballpoint pens, but just be aware of your person at all times. Takes you behind the desk.
He'll turn around and look at Gaucher and Greeby like.
Gaucher just hands over a calligraphy pen from their sleeve.
Oh, thank you. Gail, could you check this, please? I'm sorry, what was your name?
Dr. Tolstoy.
For Dr. Tolstoy, could you hold on to his pen? This is a very nice pen.
I'm just looking at. I'm making faces at Gaucher. I'm just like.
Make a good show of it. Look.
Right. Yeah. At least one of you gives up something, then they trust you.
Yeah.
And if it's just a pen, then they're like, these guys have nothing.
I'm not sure what's more ridiculous, the name he just gave or the thing that he just pulled out of his sleeve. So I'm just like,
Listen, they're just a totally normal doctor that works at the CDC that's helping investigate, and totally nothing else. Why would a doctor totally have a gun that's not registered to them?
Yeah, right?
Not on their person.
Yeah. So behind the reception desk, there are sort of like two doors on the side flanked. You'll notice when you go through them, they basically go to the same place. A little hallway behind them runs off to the left and the right. There is a door in the wall, like sort of between the two doors you came through, but on the opposite wall. Double doors. You can see through. It looks like a cafeteria of some sort. There's some people in there that probably are patients. They're wearing some light blue jumpsuits. Everyone's wearing the same outfit. Just, like having some coffee, probably, the stragglers from breakfast, or just people who wanted to come in and chat. To the right of that door is a little, like a security door. A door with like a glass window in it that has, one of those little, like at the bank, how they got the little slot where it sits under the glass, but they can like pass stuff through.
Mm-hmm. Is there
and
a
then
key
there
card,
Say again?
entrance? Is there?
Yeah,
is there a
and then
key
slightly
swipe?
past that, on
Okay.
both sides, there's like card entrance that has some like security doors, but these doors are propped open, so like maybe this is a low security area or something.
Mhm.
But she leads you over to the little what's like a little nurse's kiosk there, and there's a a nurse back there. She gets you some cards and hands each of you a little blue card. It tells you that these are for, in the event of emergency, these will open emergency doors, get you into common areas, that sort of thing. But just in case we get split up.
Anybody good with sleight of hand and want to pocket that and perhaps keep it?
pocket what? Keep it.
The key card they gave us in case
Well,
we
they're
need
giving
it
it
later.
to us. Why do we need
Right.
to slide a...
Right, but they might ask
For
for
later.
it back later
They're going to want it back later.
when we
probably.
leave.
They look like they are not necessarily disposable, but at least not important.
in case, oops, I dropped it somewhere.
Right. In case you need it
So,
later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can totally forget that later.
Okay.
And then she leads you up a flight of stairs to the third floor, where you come out into the main area. And she'll explain along the way that, sort of the basic layout. She's like, the central part of the E is the administrative area. We've got the cafeteria down on the first floor. And then on the third floor, we've got the main offices. The two wings to the north and south are the men's and women's. We like to call them dormitories, but the facilities where people stay. So she's just kind of like chatting as she goes up, giving you sort of the basic spiel, making the place seem sort of nice. It doesn't take too long to go up a couple flights of stairs. And then she leads you across the hall from the stair exit to a large office. Let me find a good description of that office.
The totally not a cult meeting office.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, this is just this is Dr. Dallon's office. You step in, it sort of faces east. So there's, like bookshelves on the wall, a couple of windows, flanked by, some wall art in the middle with a desk in front of it. It's a sort of spindly looking, like old French writing desk. Mostly it's, basic sort of office. And she says, she asks you, there's actually like a couch, sort of a seating area with a little table, a couple of wing-back chairs, where you can have intimate conferences, I suppose, or talk with patients' families, perhaps. She asks you, sit there, ask if you want anything, like some coffee, and then she says, I'm going to go find Dr. Dallon. So she leaves you for a few minutes. What do you guys want to do?
Probably just speak quietly with Gaucher and Greeby and say, so the angle, or no, he's not going to say that word. So our intent here is that there was an interest from the CDC. Is that what we want to lead with?
It seems as if they're expecting us to help with the investigation. I think we just leave it at investigators, and if anyone inquires further, we say the CDC, in the interest of expanding public health or public mental health, is leading an initiative to investigate such cases.
Would you prefer me lead and you jump in where you feel is necessary?
You go first. I want to pay attention to what he's not saying. If there's something we may need to dig into.
Can I bug the office while we're waiting?
Sure. Give me a sneaky check or some sort for that. I forget what
she has her special training is in electronic surveillance. So is that?
No, that'll be good. That'll let you know where to place things. If you're fast enough, then you can get it done beforehand. You're just going to put in like one bug, or are you going to try to put a lot? You definitely have time to do one without making a check for it, but any more than that, you'll have to.
I have a 64.
Yeah, you didn't fumble, but you. So basically, you will start to pull it out and find a good spot, but get interrupted. Also, all three of you make a awareness check or alertness check. Sorry.
Oh, here we go.
Success. Oof.
Tragedy is unlike any other.
I'm trying to scroll up inside the.
I thought your name was Tolstoy.
Yeah. All right. So all three of you got success on your alertness. You will notice as Reba gets up to start looking for a place to put her little surveillance bug. You notice that the seating area is across from a big case of books, and there's lots of books spread across there. Your eye just kind of like falls across them, and out of focus like you do with books, and you notice there's sort of maybe a pattern in the colors of the spines of the book. And as you move around the room, the perspective shifts, and you feel like you could like almost make a pattern come into play if you could just find the right position in the room.
I noticed this, but then I want to see what Gaucher notices.
Right. Yeah, each of you notice this is happening, but what do you say to each other?
They just look like generic books, or?
Yeah, if you get close, I mean, it's the sort of books you would expect in a psychiatrist's office. Some medical books, some fiction, but mostly it's going to be like one of the like volumes of the New England Journal of Medicine or Psychiatry, or something like that. The sort of thing that you would.
I don't say anything to either of them. I just start flipping through the books to see if the book is one of the books with the symbol is on that shelf.
Does it look like you are arranged by color?
They do seem to not be arranged by alphabetical or subject or anything like that.
So like green to blue, or
yeah, and there's like greens and blues and yellows and that sort of thing. And it looks like if you got in just the right spot in the room, a pattern might emerge.
It's going to take a step back to kind of.
Yeah. So you step back like toward the desk, the windows, like away from the books, and yeah, it definitely seems. Yeah, and you feel like if you moved just a little bit, it would come into play. What's Gaucher doing? Ignoring it?
Well, Gaucher fumbled.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they even noticed this. I think that a thought has come to their mind that is preoccupying them, that what if this building, because when I imagine all of us noticed when you described it how it seems as if this was a bit retrofitted from something else. Mm-hmm. What was it before? And who built it? And was it that motherfucker that Gaucher is terrified is actually the one behind
Gotcha.
this
So
building.
you're going to be spending the time examining the architecture and comparing it mentally to everything Darabandi has done to see. So you're
Like
distracted by that. Gourmet, you eventually move around the room and like get behind the desk. And as you move in, the image sort of snaps into place in yellow is that wonderful symbol that you're so familiar with.
Gribby,
What?
come here.
Yeah, I'm guessing that these creepy colors do something creepy.
And he
So I'm over-
and he wants her to like get in front of him, so that
That's why I'm looking for the book.
and,
Grab her over and,
and he's
turn her
like,
head.
yeah, like yeah, literally doesn't like turn her head and go, look.
And you say, "Have you seen the yellow sign?"
Yes, I say, have you seen the yellow sign? That
I don't want to see the sign.
It's no coincidence.
Well,
Enough
you've all
for me
seen
to
the
know.
sign. You've all seen the sign and lost some sanity to it, so you are pretty much inured to it at this point. But it's still, in some ways, creeps you out. In other ways, it's comforting, like an old friend you haven't seen in a while. You feel a sense of calm, and you're standing there, sort of looking toward the bookcase, when the nurse comes in with a tray with some coffees and says, "Dr. Dallin will be here in about 5 minutes. Make yourselves comfortable." And she notices Greeby, looking at one of the books. Yeah, feel free to read whatever you like. Just make sure you put it back where it came from.
Well, okay. I start moving the book. After she leaves the room, I start moving them around so that the colors aren't patterned in the same way anymore.
Oh, evil! Okay, yeah, you break the pattern. Do you wish to try to do this and not get caught, or do you care if he walks
Gourmet
in?
steps away and sits down and enjoys
I mean,
his coffee.
ideally, I would like to not get caught, but I mean, I could also just pretend like I was just looking at all the different books and just didn't put them back exactly the same way. The lady told me I could read the whatever.
Okay. Well, while she's doing that, you'll notice the other two will notice that there's a nice case in a corner of the room that's filled with a lovely rock collection. Very beautiful, semi-precious stones of all kinds, polished cabochons, chunks of raw amethyst, just all displayed sort of artfully and very well lit. It's lovely. Seems like maybe a custom-made cabinet because it fits so well in the corner. I need to find something.
That's never a good sign.
Oh yeah, and each of the rocks is labeled with a little hand-printed card that with a date and location, like he's found them around the world or something. And it comes from, all over the world. So obviously this guy's a rock hound, as a hobby. But
He went on a rock tour.
Man, you're on a roll.
1 second. I recently I went past it. Recently got a new tablet that I'm using for this, and for some reason the bookmarks that I saved in the files, when I accessed them with a new software, it's not finding the bookmarks that the old software made, and so I don't have most of the bookmarks that I had before, so I find it a little bit harder to find stuff.
I imagine it's looking at all this. I imagine Gaucher still hasn't realized what was going on with the bookshelf. They were just so busy looking at the wall, like at a 90-degree angle away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite possible, especially if you got distracted by the rocks.
The rocks. Just staring at them as if they have the answers to the universe.
42.
Do I actually find like the book on the shelf?
No, and
No, okay.
the shelf is absent of any books with a red spine.
Okay. I still fuck with the pattern though.
Just like blues, greens, and yellows, and lots of different shades of blues, greens, and yellows. But it's
Well,
okay. Let's skip it. Didn't find the exact thing I'm looking for, but I have a vague. So you were starting to say?
Gaucher is just still looking at the rocks.
Gotcha. Okay, so you guys are doing that, and the doctor comes in and says, I'm so glad that you could join us."
Max
And
stands up.
turns around and closes the door behind him. Kind of spins around, swoops up a cup of coffee, and heads toward his desk. He looks vaguely familiar to you guys. Here is his picture, in case you want to look at it. Give me each of you an intelligence check or intellect, whatever they call it in this.
Is it human?
Intelligence.
Why am I not seeing it?
Not human, intelligence. Your
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The statistic.
human is
Where are you-
the insight.
Got it.
Where are
Sorry.
you sharing the picture? Why am I not seeing it?
I tried to, but it gave me an error. You can
okay.
open. You can in the. Here, I can do it that way.
Well,
If I pop that out, I can share that.
I reckon I've
fucking
never
nailed
seen him
it.
before.
Take that, alcoholism.
There you go. Now I got a share going. Yeah, you can open Dr. Dowland's handout in the journal. There's his image. All right, yeah. So you nailed it. Got to switch back to the thing. The rest of you,
Nope.
2 fails and a critical. Okay. All right. 1 second. I know I made a note about if crit, then.
if crit, then cry.
Else. If this, then. So. That's all life is really if-then statements. So.
Listen, if we get back to like Matrix-style Eldritch horrors, the world will never be the same. So, yeah, Gaucher does not recognize them at all.
Yeah, maybe I didn't write that down. Just had an idea. All right. So when he walks past you, Greeby, toward his desk, you have a sudden flashback to a night in the night floors when you ran across a man in a Boston Red Sox windbreaker and a ball cap, coming out of doors and walking down the hall, counting and going through another door. And you tried to call to him. You could never quite get him to hear you. It's this guy. Give me a sanity check. 0/1d4.
What do you mean 0/1d4?
If you succeed, you take 0 sanity damage. If you fail,
Oh.
you take 1d4 sanity damage.
I said fail.
Okay, 1d4 sanity damage. As you are momentarily taken back to the night floors. I mean, and viscerally, you can smell the place. You feel the sound. You feel that sense of claustrophobia that you had, and paranoia that you had. You have that vivid of a memory of this fellow. You recognize that ass walking away. You also notice on a coat rack to the, behind the desk to the right is a Red Sox windbreaker looks exactly like the one that he was wearing. The other two of you, completely fail to notice this.
Yeah.
The guy, just you're like, yeah, you probably seen him somewhere. Maybe he's famous.
How the hell did you get off the night floors?
You say that out loud,
Yeah.
and he stumbles and spills his coffee. I says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hang on a second. Let me clean this up. What was that?"
How did you get off of the night floor?
Well, I just leave through the exit. I see. You three. I mean, I knew I was working with Delta Green, but I didn't expect you to be quite so informed already. This is good news, I think.
We
Perhaps?
saw you there.
I don't think so.
Oh, I know so.
I've never seen you there.
Yeah, you wouldn't pay attention to us. We tried to get your attention, and you just kept going in and out of doors. I don't know what you're doing, but you were wearing that Red Sox windbreaker and a Red Sox hat.
Interesting.
you.
And he sits down at his desk and like pulls out a little the sort of notebook that psychiatrists always have that they make their their notes in when they're talking to you as you're lying on the couch, and starts like making some notes. That's interesting perspective that you have there.
It's not a perspective. It's a fact.
Good. Well, let's get to the matter at hand. You're here to investigate a strange disappearance. What can I do to help you with that?
That's probably connected to the fact that you are somebody who, did you used to live in that building? We're not going to just gloss over this.
What building do you think I live in?
I forgot the name of that building. The one we burned down?
The McAllister.
The McAllister building.
I assure you, I've never lived in any building called McAllister. And you gentlemen, do you share this delusion?
It's not a delusion. He was there. We saw him. Now, if I point it out, do they have any recollection of, like, once I call their attention to it?
Yeah, I would think once you point to, like, you were there and you point to and you were wearing that and we were following you, and by the time she gets to we were hollering at you and you ignored us, you guys are like, oh yeah, and you're having that same sort of memory, not quite as full on sense memory as she got with that critical, but you do remember the night you were following some guy who kept popping in and out of the rooms counting doors.
Perhaps it's best to focus on the matter at hand and leave this discussion for another time.
Go, Shay.
So that's a no, I take it?
No, it's not
I
a
didn't say
no.
that. However, there are individuals missing and a more recent matter at hand.
And the person in charge of them was on the frickin' night floors. Not coincidental.
Night floors. Interesting. There are some other patients here who have mentioned the night floors in some of their dream recollections. Yes, it's very interesting to see that coming in from outside. I'll make a note of that.
Perhaps you could tell us how they describe of the night floors then.
In the vaguest terms, without pulling back my notes, they just describe them as these interesting floors that just appear in the in the Dorchester house at night. Um, Basements and sub basements. Places that you can't get to during the day. Sometimes it's doors that didn't exist before. The sort of thing that the dream logic.
And do these recollections, when did they start?
Oh, it's been a few months.
Very well. And have any of these individuals that have the most experience with this phenomenon, do they present any different behaviors from the others?
Everyone here is unique.
But patterns still exist.
The pattern of the shared nightmares, if you will. I guess sometimes it's frightening. Sometimes they find it comforting. So dreams.
Very well. And the 6 individuals, the 3 men and the 3 women, did they all start having these dreams or nightmares around the same time?
No, the missing people did not report these same sort of dreams. For the most part, they were. Well, let me. I think I can give you their files. And he pops over to the filing cabinet for a minute, pulls out 6 files that he can hand to you.
While he's doing that, I take a sip from my flask.
Gaucher kind of mouths to Greeby silently. Later.
Because my addiction thing says if I lose 2+ sanity in a single roll, triggers an acute episode. So.
Oh no, they're gesturing to the doctor of later.
Oh, the doctor later? Fucking guy. He doesn't remember being there.
Yeah, so he goes over, he grabs out 6 files. He's like, these are the files on the missing people. As you can see, they were near catatonic for the most part. We weren't able to get much out of them. They were very unresponsive. It could be led around. They would walk and that sort of thing, but they had to be restrained at night. They would have bouts of hysteria. So no, I can't actually say that they were experiencing that. Perhaps they were having the same dreams, but I can't confirm that.
Very well.
I highly doubt it because they weren't really in contact with the rest of the patients. So there's really no way for for the vector to travel, for the mass hysteria, if you will. I don't particularly like that term, but the shared dream states that come just from interacting with other people and overhearing bits of conversation, it gets into your head, and that's how these things usually start.
Oh, it's of course. Many of these things act similar to outbreaks. There's one person that carries it on to the others, and
yes, you understand.
Very much so, Doctor. And very much of a sigh, like a trying to tap on Greeby's thigh of, listen to what I'm trying to hint here.
Yeah, she's beyond subtlety. She's gonna let you handle it.
Now, of course, we are going to need access to the patient's rooms if they don't have any dorm mates of any kind that we would be disturbing.
Absolutely. No, the rooms are exactly the way they were left. He will give you sort of a rundown on the timeline of what happened. If I can freaking find it.
How's Gourmet taking this of the discoveries we are making?
Well, first of all, this man said Delta Green.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is we were set up. We came in here way too easily. and he talked about the other patients. So Gourmet is getting ready to act, but he's holding off because he wants to get a little more information. But he's yeah, this ain't good.
Yep.
So, but he's not saying anything.
Mhm.
But when he heard those words, he's like,
Nope. Yeah, so he'll say, but before you go off, I'll have Nurse Samagina take you down to the rooms. But just to give you a quick overview of, the way things happen, because I don't know how much you've been filled in at this point. But on August 28th, at 8:11 p.m., as best we can guess, on or around 8:11 p.m., they disappeared. They were placed in their beds under restraint sometime between 6 and 6:34 p.m. Takes a little while to get 6 people all sorted, and we have a sizable staff, but it still takes time. They weren't exactly agreeable about it. And then the first disappearance was noticed, like I said, at 8:11 p.m. By 8:22 p.m., we had checked all the rooms and discovered that everyone was missing. And that's when we found the wall, the art, if you will, on the wall of, what was the name? On the wall of Alan Volt's room, in the men's section. And yep, no sign of any breach at the doors. They were locked the same way. The hall cameras didn't catch anyone going in. We do not have cameras in patients' rooms. Under most circumstances, the rooms are wired for cameras, but we don't keep them in there unless there are extenuating circumstances. We do try to give the patients their privacy. So there were no cameras in the rooms at the time. Just the cameras in the hallway showed no one entering or leaving the room. Yeah, and that was it. The windows are secure. All the windows on the 3rd floor are barred. This is the, let's call it high security floor, where everyone who comes in stays on the 3rd floor for a while until we can assess them and figure out what their needs are. It keeps them isolated from the general population. But yeah, windows were secure, doors were secure, no one in, no one out. You're welcome to talk with our security man and check the video feeds. And like I said, Nurse Samagina will take you to their rooms, and then she can give you a full tour of the facility. I unfortunately have to continue my rounds, but she can take you anywhere that you need to check in. Any questions before I call the nurse?
Doctor.
Oh, and before you say, don't mention anything about Delta Green to Nurse Samagina. She knows a little bit about what's going on, but she's not as fully read into the whole thing like I am. And the 6 who went missing, they're the only ones here who are affiliated with Delta Green that I'm aware of.
I don't know what you're speaking of. This is simply a CDC-based operation and community outreach program.
Of course.
Doctor, let me ask you. Have you seen the yellow sign?
And when you say that, he kind of like freezes up for a second. And you can kind of see like his eyes widen and kind of look from you to the bookcase and back. And then he kind of like blinks and says, I'm sorry, did you say you wanted some more coffee?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Oh, sure. And he gets up and gets the, pours you a new cup, brings it over, notices that your other cup is still untouched, and gives you a curious look, but then sits back down. If that's everything, then I probably should get going and get to my rounds. I have things to do after close today.
Thank you for your time.
No problem. And it, he gets up, leaves, takes like his clipboard with him. You can hear him call for the nurse, and she comes in 30 seconds or so later and asks, what she can do for you.
Could you please show us to Alan Volt's room?
Yes. Go straight there? Sure.
Yes,
this way, and she leads you out to, like hang a left as you go out. You head, see if the faces east. No, you'd be hanging a right, I guess. You're walking west. Yeah, hanging a right to go north to the men's wing. Just through here. There's a security door at the end of the short hallway. So very similar to what you saw behind in the hallway down, at the bottom. This one though, she pulls out like her own card on a thing, swipes it, goes through, lets you in as you guys pass through, and you go down the hall. It's set up almost like a hotel room. There's doors on opposite sides of the hall as you go down. All the doors are open. And she's like giving you the tour speech as you go, and she lets you know that on the third floor, high security area, they don't have any privacy privileges. The doors must remain open at all times, and blah blah blah. And you can see some of them are empty, some of them are full. As you're walking down the hall, from a room on the right, a probably patient, because they're wearing one of the the light blue jumpsuits, so obviously not dressed like a nurse or an orderly, pushing another patient in a wheelchair, sort of like comes out and like cuts between whoever's in the lead and the second person. So who's probably Gourmet is the first one behind the nurse, and then whichever
Actually,
one.
Gourmet'd be bringing up the rear.
We're bringing up the rear. All right. Yeah. So which of you would be?
I would probably be in the middle. I'll let Gaucher go first because he's more
All right,
chatty
So
than
between
I am.
Gaucher and Greavy, the guy comes out and he's like, "Oh, excuse me, Greavy, give me an intelligence check," because the guy in the wheelchair looks kind of familiar too, and the Gourmet as well, because you can see him.
Sure.
Nope, not
The
this
fellow
time.
pushing him just doesn't look familiar at all.
Success.
Yeah, you recognize this guy. You remember this case. About 5 years ago, this kid killed his parents out in California, and ended up, like on an insanity plea, and ended up in an institution somewhere. You never really heard where, but just that, basically guilty by reason of insanity, and then, pulled some strings and got out of the state. So he ended up not in California, and you're realizing he must have come to this facility. A kid by the name of Ed Myler Guisson. Pretty famous case. Probably, as ex-law enforcement, it was more on your radar than these other two. And he says, and they're like, "Oh, excuse me, sorry," and then kind of like backs the chair up. And it goes past. As Gourmet walks past at the end, the guy heads in the chair, sort of like reaches out to shake your hand. Says, "Nice to meet you, sir. Glad you could visit. Come back anytime. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you."
He doesn't shake his hand. He just looks at him.
You don't let him grab his hand?
No.
Make an alertness check.
I guess he grabs my hand. So
Okay. No, he doesn't. You don't let him grab your hand. You just don't notice.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He tries to grab your hand, and he looks very disappointed as you walk away. He's sort of scowling at you, and you see him take out, out the corner of your eye, he kind of like slips this notebook out of his lap, flips it open, and writes something down in it. And he's like glaring at you as he's writing it down.
Welcome. So.
Yeah. All right. So nurse takes you further down the hallway, points out like the two other male patients, T. Howe and Egon Hoskirk, and then Alan Volt's room. Walks you in, and you can see on the wall. She like unlocks the door. It's been locked. Those are the only 3 doors that are closed on the whole hallway. Lets you in, and it's a just very simple, sparse room. There's like the sort of gurney-like bed that has the attachment areas where you can put the straps on. The kind of place you don't want to wake up and find yourself. A chair and table, looks hardly used, and then like plastered on the wall is just a whole bunch of newspaper, and there it's that sort of brownish red color of dried blood written, just like the picture was taken in. It's obviously, been several days since it was taken, but it looks like everything's untouched. And she says, this has been locked up since the disappearance. And then she'll step out of the room so that you guys can do your thing. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Gourmet does not go in. He will look in from a distance. He is not going in that door.
The nurse gives you sort of a strange look and says, I assure you I can keep watch so you can go in.
I'm fine. I can see from here. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Whatever works. What are the other two going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go in.
Gaucher will also step inside.
Okay. Yep. You maybe get like a slight frisson as you step through, but other than that, the room seems normal. Maybe it's slightly colder than the outside hall, but just seems like a normal sort of room. You're not sure the sense of coldness is psychological or physical.
Where did the patient get the newspapers? I was under the impression that many things would be considered dangerous implements in their hands.
You are correct. Newspaper is not something that someone on the third floor would have privileges for.
So why did they have it?
Your guess is as good as mine. Probably better.
I'm going to do something that's probably going to mess with my sanity. Gaucher is going to see if any of the newspaper is salvageable, or not salvageable, but readable. They're wanting to find dates, because is this all recent? Or is this newspaper from all the way back in the 1920s?
There are pieces of newspaper from lots of different decades, yes. You could even find an article on the fire at the McAllister.
Greeby, do you think it would be too much of an imposition for me to ask you to coordinate with their security on site to install a camera in this room before evening?
Not a problem.
Excellent. It's, like I was mentioning earlier, a lot of these mass hysterical moments are just similar to biological and viral outbreaks. There's a patient zero, so to speak, and the next thing you know, you end up with a cluster. Slowly the cluster either is cured or dies off. They never quite talk to anyone about what happens after that. And they're like looking down, like in the direction of where they came from the doctor's office. Of this is patient zero potentially.
I mean, we think no.
I think that anyone can be susceptible to these sorts of events. It's just a matter of luck, But is there anything you were seeing that I'm not at the moment?
Is there a thing that she's seeing?
I guess you could make an alertness check if you want. If you get a crit, that'll make up something. But basically, the room is fairly empty. Right? It's just that, simple bed, the desk and chair. Like a little closet. That's the door's open. There's some hangers on there with a couple of the blue jumpsuits. a little dresser set back underneath that with possibly a spot for underwear, things like that. You're not seeing any yellow signs that are, apparent at least. Perhaps buried under some of the newspaper pasted to the wall. As that, is sort of how you found it back in the McAllister building. But other than that, the room seems fairly innocuous.
All right. Well, I'll take some photos and then I'll go try to find somebody to see about setting up a camera in there, like Gaucher asked.
Okay. So I assume you ask the nurse about that, and she will tell you that. So if you gentlemen can wait here, I will take her down to the security room, or you're welcome to come along as part of the tour if there's nothing else you need to see here.
I'd like to come along, please.
I will remain just in case there's any aspects I haven't seen yet.
And he kind of turns and gives Gaucher a look like we don't want to be separated.
Trust me.
Okay.
All right. Gaucher stays. Samagina takes the other two down the hallway. So you go back down the hallway where you were. Takes you into the little hallway / antechamber outside the offices. You notice that, and she takes you to another door there that's marked security. Leads you in, introduces you to. Where'd you go?
Paul Blart.
Introduce you to this is Michael Devon, one of our orderlies. He's in charge of security. Michael, if you could please show them whatever they want to see. I'm going to go back and check on Dr. Tolstoy, make sure they're okay. I'll just be popping back and forth. If you need anything, just let me know.
An orderly's in charge of security?
Well, you don't have to say it like that, but yeah. And who are you?
My name's Max Power.
We're investigators. We're taking we're doing an investigation on the missing patients.
I assume you want to see footage.
We need a camera set up in Alan Bolt's room.
The rooms are pre-wired. All I got to do is pull one out of storage. I could do that in a few minutes.
That would be.
You want me to do that like right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, either of you know how these security system consoles work? All right, feel free to poke around. I'll go do that. It'll probably take me 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, gotta go all the way down
Take
to the
your
basement,
time.
get the damn camera, and then come back up. It's
Yeah.
all right. Knock yourselves out.
So we're alone?
Yep, you're alone. You're left alone with the equipment.
Creepy, this is a setup.
Set up for what?
We're not leaving here.
Oh, I'm leaving. If I want to leave, I'm leaving.
Then we need to get on it because this is a setup. The doctor said other members of an organization had already been here too, and they're the ones that disappeared.
Yeah.
It's a setup. We need to get out of here.
Yeah, the 6 people that disappeared were Delta Green members. Yeah, but you knew that coming into the whole assignment.
Have you honestly gotten more paranoid than me?
Maybe I'm just paying more attention. I haven't dulled my senses.
Maybe you need to. I'm gonna just start looking through the security equipment and looking for any any recordings or anything from the night whenever they all went missing.
Any pens or scissors or anything sharp that I could put my hands on?
Yeah, there are this sort of like office supplies kind of thing. So if you rifle through the door,
Those
you
little
can find
staple
ballpoint pen, you can find
removers.
a pair of scissors. They're safety scissors, but just what you need to cut paper, and like some pencils and.
He wants to eat pocket, like a pen, anything that's not going to be like too obvious.
Yeah, you can totally grab a pen or
put him in his coat pocket and stuff.
So you're rifling around looking for stuff like
just
that.
Quickly, just on the surface of the desk. If there's like
anything
pencil cup, you'll just grab.
Okay. You get like paper clips, pencils, pens, a stapler, I suppose, if you want, but
no. A swing line?
Yeah. Pops open, you can like smack people in the face with it.
Improvised weapon.
Yeah, that shit don't feel good.
He's just kind of smirking as she's watching.
Yeah, so you start going through the files, and you can find everything is sort of sorted by date and time. There's lots of different files. You can see, they're saved in like seems like 15-minute increments with maybe like a little bit of overlap between each file. You access the files for the appropriate time at the date August 28th. Give me an intelligence check, Mouse.
Yeah.
Success. Just succeeded. As you're doing this and going through and looking through the date, it finally occurs to you August 28th was the date you got the invitation.
So they went missing on the same day?
Yep. Don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but you got invited out. You got activated on the day of the night that they went missing.
How would that work? How would they?
Yeah. So you're thinking about this as you click on the file and start to play the video. And it's a digital file, and it's playing like any sort of digital file would do. But then all of a sudden it sort of like glitches and does this sort of weird rolling shutter effect, like you're looking at an old VHS tape. And then it just kind of like goes fuzzy and then like freezes up. And try as you might, you can't get the file to reload. The files that are like saved right around that time, within a few hours of it, are all corrupted as you try to go through them. And you sort of mixed, probably get a little sidetracked from your thoughts of like, how the hell could that happen? But maybe it's something you'll come back to at some point, or if you want, you can talk it out. You did just.
Well, yeah, or I can. I mean, she has a pretty high computer science too, so like I wouldn't mind trying to.
Bring your mic slightly closer to your mouth. She has a pretty high.
Sorry, she has a pretty high computer science, so I don't know if she can do any kind of.
Yeah, you do everything you can think of computer sciencey and are unable to get the files to work. You kind of go into debug mode. Start looking at the logs, not the security logs, but the actual computer logs, and you can see a particular sort of error, a read-write error that you recognize. This looks like a pretty standard sort of oops, cosmic ray flew through.
Right.
That part of the hard drive crapped out.
Well, while I have access to this computer system, can I try to hack into it and get information on the Dr. Dallin dude?
Oh, let me think. Not sure what sort of information you could get from this computer station. Give me a computer science check.
Well, if it's networked.
Yeah, it is networked. So the question is, can you get outside?
For fuck's sake!
No, you can't figure out a way to navigate from this into the main system, but you can see that this computer is networked, and you're guessing all of the computers are probably networked. So maybe a different station would yield better results.
Oh. Now maybe a different agent would yield better results.
Gourmet, what are you doing? As Greeby's muttering
Watch,
to herself.
basically. Yeah, just keeping
He's
an eye
arming
out.
himself with fucking pencils.
Yeah. Anything else you want to try real quick, or just wait for?
Just he's kind of seen what she's doing, so he's kind of just keeping an eye out. So if the nurse returns, he can like immediately speak to her and alert Greeby that someone has entered the room. So.
Right. Then you'll see Devon come like out of the security door from down the hallway, and returning.
Okay.
He doesn't spot you, but
Okay.
you've got 30 seconds before he gets down the hallway.
Creepy.
All right.
All right. Comes back in. All right, the camera's set up. Did you find what you needed?
No, the files from the night that they went missing are corrupted and inaccessible. You have any idea why that might be?
I mean, the system's kind of old. You probably need to replace the hard drives. I'll just need to defrag them again. Let me just check the backups and see. Maybe we can get download a backup copy.
All right, excellent.
He looks at you pointedly as you're sitting in his chair.
Okay, yeah, you want to...
Question.
Sure.
I'd like to just take a look at the orderly. Mostly at his arms. See if he has any kind of bracelets on that might indicate a patient.
No, he's dressed in an orderly type.
Okay, so I don't see anything like a bracelet on his wrist or anything.
Doesn't have like a bracelet on his wrist.
Okay, just curious.
Thinking back to the guy who sort of caught you in the hallway, he didn't have bracelets on his wrist either. So, not definitive, but he's not really giving off a crazy patient vibe.
Okay.
This is what he looked like.
Okay. I'm thinking back to a book I read. So.
Right. No, that's a legitimate question. Just issue with your file. Please try again. So sharing the file is not the best way to do this. Doing the handout seems to be the one. But I don't have a handout for him because he's just a guy. We could make one for you if you need one. But anyway, he gets into the chair after you vacate it. Pops in, tries to find the download. Try the backup, and says, backup's corrupted.
No, not surprising.
I'll have to contact the backup people. Whatever. I'm sorry. I mean, I can tell you there wasn't anything on the files. I mean, hopefully there wasn't anything that you didn't see, but it was blank. Nothing there. Nobody in, nobody out. Weird.
Gourmet's just going to give a look over to Kirby like,
all right.
Nobody delivering newspapers.
No. But let's see. I can pull up the camera that's in there now, and he click, 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 and then boop, there you see, Gaucher in the room doing what?
Gaucher is going throughout the room trying to see, is there anything here that would mark this room? They haven't looked at the other rooms yet, partially because they can't without potentially running into other patients. But they're trying to see, does something mark this room as special? Is there some orientation to these papers? Is there a pattern they're not seeing similar to how that feeling they got all those years ago in a certain artist's apartment? If they just kept digging, maybe they could find it.
Got you. Ooh, what would that fall under? I guess you could try an occult check. It's not really that because it's more of a general
Hmm.
connectivity of the universe, but we're going to call it that because there isn't such a particular skill. So give me an occult check.
Don't worry. I got this. I don't got this.
Oh, yeah, the call to 20%. Yeah, no, I mean, you're definitely left with a sense of something weird about the room, but you can't quite put your finger on it. Is it the feng shui that's off? Is it,
The smell of blood.
yeah, could be the smell of blood, old newspaper. Um, Something is definitely putting you off a little bit and sort of reminding you of um, Abigail's old apartment. And maybe it's just that you're having, a bit of deja vu from that.
They're gonna wait for the nurse to get back because there's a different line of questioning they want to take that they don't want to bring up with the doctor.
Okay. Yeah. She doesn't come right back from dropping these two off. So you're there investigating for 10, 15 minutes before she comes back and apologizes for getting hung up. Had to help with a patient. So how's it going? Is there anything I can do to help?
Oh yes, actually, if you have a few spare moments, I'd love to ask you some questions.
Absolutely.
Now, from what I understand, Mr. Volt was one of the more lower verbal and otherwise normal communication patients, correct?
Yes. All of the six missing persons who I really am concerned about were um, pretty much nonverbal. I mean, they weren't mute. They just weren't speaking. Do you know? I'm sorry. I don't want to use
Catatonic.
medical terms but you know what I mean. I hope.
It's all right. Most likely some form of trauma, but
Yeah, probably was the trauma that they were induced. They weren't really speaking. They would act out, get emotional. Um, they seemed very frustrated all the time. They always sort of seemed like they were trying to tell me something that I just couldn't understand. Um, it was heartbreaking.
it is very tragic, and it's why the CDC is wanting to invest more in programs like this. But back to the point, have there been any changes in other patients on this floor behavior before and after this event? I understand that even if it is not common knowledge of exact details, they motion to the bloody wall. I understand that people are still intelligent to a certain degree here and they can still find things out. How have they been behaving since this occurred?
Morale has been pretty strong. We try to keep as much of a lid on this as possible, but secrets leak out. Even though we haven't, to my knowledge, no one on staff has specifically spoken to the patients about what happened. It's likely that they've overheard conversations. The walls aren't soundproof here. Information gets out. But yeah, morale seems to be fine. It's difficult to ascertain how the patients are feeling about what happened since we can't directly speak to them about what happened without acknowledging that it happened. But no one's been acting out. No sudden changes in behavior or mental state. Everyone seems to be handling things fairly well. They're probably not very concerned about it because it didn't happen to them.
Ah, well. And how is Dr. Dalen taking this event? I understand that he most likely cares very much for all of his patients, so seeing six of them disappear.
He does. He's very devoted to the entire hospital. He's taking it, I think, fairly hard. He doesn't tend to show it much. He's a very close to the vest kind of professional. He tries to stay detached, but you can see it in his eyes. He makes some attachments, more than he thinks he should, but probably not as much as he really should. Don't tell him I said that.
Secrets are safe with me. Speaking of Dr. Dalen, if I might inquire, when did he...
And he froze up. When did he... What now?
When did he take up a leadership position here?
Oh, mm,
To the audience playing along at home.
oh, go ahead.
To the audience playing along at home, I'm not going to pretend to know the intricacies of everything about being a nurse. But if there's one thing that people that are nurses in my family have revealed to me, it is there is no amount of gossip and shit talking that you can find on doctors than in the nurses that they are either neutral or not good to. So if you ever want to find shit on a doctor, don't go to other doctors, go to the nurses.
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yep.
So, Dr. Dallin has been here since the facility opened back in, let's see, 25, 26 years ago, before my time.
And how has he been as a boss, I would suppose?
Okay.
It's over.
You know, he not overly friendly, but also not overly cold. Very professional. He seems to care about the staff as well as the patients. Tries to make it, a good place for us to work. We certainly don't have the sort of problems they have in, public hospitals and private hospitals.
I've been to many that could very much learn lessons from this place. But, and I apologize if this seems strange. I just think that since he most likely was the one that did the rounds for all 6 of these patients, I just want to understand all angles. But did he see all 6 of these patients personally?
Oh yes. He's the attending physician, expert in PTSD and various other traumatic psychological issues.
And as far as anyone else that sees them, I understand, of course, as nurses and staff, you would see them constantly. But did any of the 6 have any connections to any of the other patients, perhaps?
No, they weren't really here long enough. Everyone who comes into the facility does a stint on the 3rd floor, so they, ostensibly would only be meeting the people here on the 3rd floor, but they were, from the get-go, fairly isolated, not very responsive. They weren't, at least, to the nurses and Dr. Dallin. They were nonverbal, as I said, not really responding to anyone. Possibly there was some interactions with the other patients when we weren't around, but for the most part, there was very little interaction with them. They just weren't here long enough to get introduced into the general population. You have to spend some time on the 3rd floor while you get evaluated, and then you move down to the 2nd floor. And then you'll stay there for a while. Once you show that good behavior, to get along well with other people. Eventually, you'll move down onto the 1st floor, which is sort of the lowest security. You can move about freely.
Understood. And I understand you have other duties to get to, and I should return to my colleagues. But when did these 6 come here? Did they all come at the same time? And
yes, they did come at the same time. I know that she can tell you, but I don't know what it is right offhand. I think it might be in the same spot where it told you what happened.
Yes.
No, it doesn't specifically say. So, but she'll give you a date at the beginning of August. So, like, they'd only been here for a few weeks.
And if I might inquire, uh, who brought them in? Were they brought in by families, perhaps by law enforcement following an event?
I don't know offhand who the admitting responsible persons were.
Very well. Well, I apologize for taking up so much of your time. I'm sure you have other duties to attend to.
No, yeah, I mean, I do. That's fine, but I can, pop in and out if you need to investigate. You need to look at the other rooms. If you want a tour of the facility, I'm available. Just I'll have to pop back and forth between things.
If you could escort me to the security room to rejoin the others, that would be amazing. If it wouldn't be too much of a bother.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you'll need me to get through the security door anyway, so follow me.
As they're going, Gaucher wants to look and see, out of all these not empty rooms, out of all these rooms of patients, is there anyone that's paying closer attention than they should be?
That guy in the wheelchair is sort of like halfway in his door watching you guys come past, and he like gives you a sort of knowing look and like kind of like, come here, you can see he's not like up in his face, but like his hands are kind of down on his lap, but you can see him sort of gesture, crook his finger towards you.
I'm going to try and accidentally drop a not blank, but a decoy notebook to be like, oh, excuse me, and make that be the excuse to get closer, just to grab it.
Okay, yeah. Whenever you bend over to pick up your notebook, he drops a little piece of paper like right next to the notebook, and you hear him whisper, "Give this to the surly guy."
Apologies, sir. I didn't mean to interrupt you. And they're like doing the flustered doctor thing of, oh, I shouldn't have dropped this. I'm supposed to be a professional. How dare I? Grab the paper and slip it in their sleeve.
Right. And when you stand up, he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you could join us. Is there anything I can do to help you? I'm very well connected, if you know what I mean."
I'm sure you are. Just enjoy the rest of your evening and rejoin the nurse.
You'll be back. Yep, you rejoin the nurse. And she takes you through the doors and into the security room where Agent Greeby and Gourmet are talking with Devon about security issues and probably what they just spotted on the security camera. So what are you guys up to when Gaucher comes in?
Yeah, I mean, we'll fill him in. I'll fill him in on the situation with the security footage. Got the camera up and running.
Yeah.
Even the backups are corrupted. Shocker.
And he mentioned that, yeah, there was nothing there.
Well, I mean, he said there was nothing there, but when I looked at it, it did start to play. But then it went all weird. Like
it made it sound like he had watched it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was totally what he meant. Yep.
Yeah. So.
But maybe he didn't see anything, but.
Right.
Yeah.
And Dallin also, sort of, you got the impression that he'd also seen the footage.
I guess, yeah, Gourmet would like to say to the nurse, we'd like to take a break to maybe check in with some colleagues. Could we possibly come back tomorrow to
certainly.
To
whatever you need for your investigation. Absolutely.
Great.
Is there a particular time we should expect you, or
how about and he kind of looks at the other two like we'll pick a time tonight and schedule an appointment again?
That would be great. Are you done for the day? Should I ask?
I am.
You
Then he looks at the other two.
I believe we need to check on some references, and we want to be better prepared for tomorrow. I want to do a bit more thorough investigation on other physical media.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I can take you downstairs.
Yeah.
Or if there's more you need to finish up here, then you can see yourselves out. But I need to get back to something.
Of course.
So she kind of looks at you for a second to gauges whether you're going to get up and leave. Do you follow her or do you hang back?
Gourmet's up like a shot.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Ready to go.
They'll lead you downstairs. The other two, are you following or hanging back?
He will spin and look at her like.
I'm following, but I'm gonna follow slowly so that there is a chance to interact maybe with other people as we go, or spot something, as we're walking through. Yeah.
She pretty much takes you straight down that main stairwell and then back out into the reception area, unless you try to go somewhere else. She'll take you back out there and say, "All right, well then we'll see you tomorrow. Just give us a call and let us know when you'll be stopping by, or just swing by. We are very concerned about finding our missing patients and figuring out what happened. So whatever I can do to help, you just let me know."
Of course.
We are utmost committed to finding them.
Great. Well, if you'll excuse me, I need to go help get folks ready for lunch.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
She slips off. The lady behind the desk, Miss Orderly Houston, waves you off.
Gaucher gets their calligraphy pen back.
Right. Oh, yep. Give your pen back. Oh, the little blue cards for the security doors. If you could.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give those back to you tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, he turns it back in. Shit. Okay.
Thanks. All right. So you guys head out into the parking lot. And what happens next?
Get in the car. I didn't think they were
No
slave, but it's wrong. It's a setup. I'm thinking they're dumping old agents here who've either learned too much about what's going on. We need to find out more about who brought those guys here, but I don't know.
Either the nurse doesn't know or refuses to tell. I asked if there were any coincidences of anything. All they know is that they were brought here somewhat recently, around the same time. They were catatonic for most of their time here. They suspect that they were trying to tell the nurse something but couldn't quite communicate it. Of course, Al Volt's room is the epicenter and either is the point of incursion the night into the area, because they're remembering, okay, yep, we're still somewhat public, into the zone. My question, though, is were they the original points of contagion, or was somebody else in this establishment a trigger or catalyst for it, or just another victim?
Right, or were they brought here for treatment from just normal DG experiences, and then they got introduced to the book and the symbol and all that crap after they got here, is what you're thinking? Or
either they were introduced to it by an outside source, or they brought it with them and their influence is now starting to affect the others. The nurse and the doctors, remember, mentioned that multiple patients were now discussing this. If we don't figure something out soon, it could spread.
Well, and clearly Dallin is knee-deep in all of this, and he could be the one that's spreading it without even realizing it. I don't...
How does he know Delta Green? How is he just throwing that term around?
Well, they said the place was friendly to Delta Green. Like, it sounded like the organization had an understanding with them.
But it's not a term we use. It's not like we have stationery that says Delta Green on it. That's what my concern is that. And he laughed about it. He winked about it like it was some kind of delusion.
I'm wondering where he's getting the information for this from. Because if it's from Agent Exeter, then either Agent Exeter is a security operation risk.
Yeah.
Or there are deeper problems.
There's a leak somewhere, but I don't know. Something's just not right here, and I'm afraid we're burned, and that I was afraid they were going to try to keep us there because he mentioned something about the other patients, and it's just something's not right.
Well, with the camera, hopefully we'll be able to get footage on if the night floors manifest in Alan Volt's room.
All right.
Oh, and Gaucher will finally, like, now that they're at the car and have a moment, slide the paper slip they got from the person in the wheelchair over to him.
Okay. And he'll take it and look at it.
And on the back, so it's like folded in half, and there's some initials on it, EMW. And then when you open it up, you'll see what I just shared with you. It says, "How did you find me? I thought you had left. In any case, they're still here at night."
We got to be able to get to him.
If he's a regular on the 3rd floor, that could prove difficult.
Well, if we can get back to the 3rd floor to investigate the room a little more.
How out of the question would it be for us to ask to interview other patients as a part of the investigation?
I mean, you got the sense that would not be a problem. They were willing to let you do whatever you needed.
So why don't we just tomorrow go back and be like, hey, we'd like to interview.
Yeah. And it's just lunchtime, roughly right now. So you could do it later this afternoon if you wanted to, but you may have other things you want to do.
I want to talk to Exeter because, Gourmet's like, how the fuck do these people know about Delta Green? It's not a name you throw around. So
it's definitely not a name you throw around. He did seem a bit cavalier about it, but you do know that you all know that is the internal code name for the group,
right?
So, and you know that he's a friendly that has worked with Delta Green before, so it could just be he heard the name and like a little kid that knows a secret kind of thing wants to show he's in the in group. You almost kind of got that sense that it was like, I'm one of the cool guys.
Still don't trust him,
but it could be something
else. There's something. He wants to talk to Exeter, so if he can do that today, he's
okay. All right, then it's 10 o'clock, so why don't we break for the night, and then next week we will have you try to catch up with Exeter and get some information out of him.
Awesome.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, folks, for an interesting.
Thank you.
Thanks for that crit there, Mouse, where you had to and then actually confronting the dude.
She doesn't. Yeah. He's past. Giving too much of a shit about subtlety at this point.
And Gourmet's like an orderly just runs security. Like you don't have a security department. That's the other thing. He's just like, wait, something's wrong here, and that's why he was looking.
That's all he does. Pretty much all he does. That's his job.
Right, but they're generally patient care, not as an orderly run finance.
Who knows? Maybe he was a really bad orderly.
Exactly.
But they didn't
Gourmet's over here. Gourmet's over here thinking it's about to turn into Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nurse, you know?
That's one of the places I'm going is Shutter Island. Yeah.
Shutter Island. I don't know that one.
I don't know
All
what
right. Well,
that
let's
is
not
either.
keep the viewers while we kibitz.
Yeah, it's true.
Any announcements?
Tomorrow night we have some more Vampire the Masquerade. River City Runs Red. We just played some Dungeons and Dragons this week. Nice little game called Goblins of Zendikar. If you haven't already checked it out, please go check it out on our YouTube channel. And maybe there might be more of that coming at some point. We're in the negotiation stages, as we say. And we'll be back next Thursday night, more Delta Green.
More Delta Green next Thursday.
Yeah.
And we got something on Wednesday, right?
We do. We're also playing Vampire, the Victorian Age game. So lots of stuff going on here. January is jam packed here. So
Yep, it's going to be a busy spring. So
yeah,
thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you'll join us tomorrow. And if not, then see you next week. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Don't worry, the doors don't lock.